talent is super critical. Having the right people and keeping them engaged and motivated is probably the most important. If I just look back on all the conversations that we've had, and one of what came out as a very consistent theme throughout is not just about getting the right talent, but how do you keep them, motivate them, grow them over time, and how do you build a level of dexterity where people are actually sort of moving across roles, right? Especially in this journey, because many of the founders talked about how some of their best people had first helped to build out one thing, then helped to solve an operations problem, because that's what was starting to hurt now. And so they all have like this cadre of their sort of go-to people who then sort of jump from solving one problem to another. And I think that's it's actually just an incredible approach. It's not what conventional organizations do, but I think it builds both a very different caliber and a different level of dexterity, but also keeps people very motivated because they feel like they're actually learning so much more rather than only doing more of the same, and that gets them energized. While a lot of focus ends up being on the inflow, I think an equal, if not more, focus needs to be on how do you actually construct career paths, how do you keep people motivated, because that and how do you help them grow, because I think that's what really becomes very, very distinctive. And I think at in early stages it's easier to do that because you're all sort of in it together. But what many of the founders who've gone through the 10 to 100 journey said is that how do you now do it beyond that that first layer or those 10, 20, 30 people who are part of the initial team, but how do you actually continue to drive that spirit of entrepreneurship and ownership and eagerness even with a much larger organization. And I think that's a very important question that's on their minds.